Welcome to Sussing Life with me, Hamish Somerville. 3 ways to know yourself as immaterialism, as consciousness, and as non-duality or selflessness. Today's topic is know yourself as consciousness. Essentially, we're trying to follow the advice of the Delphi oracle and Socrates. Know yourself. Answer questions like, who am I, what's life about? Do you know yourself? Would you like to know yourself better? We looked at materialism in the first video and we came to the conclusion that materialism is a fundamentally flawed way of looking at life. We are not our bodies, we are not our thoughts and experiences. What we are is the experiencer, the subject. We are pure, unchanging consciousness. And for me, the big key to getting into and understanding consciousness has been working with meditation, turning the mind inward. To begin with, finding a quiet place with an instructor who gave some simple instructions and helped to focus the mind and helped to deal with what a lot of people experience when they start to meditate, what I call mind's waterfall, a barrage of thoughts and feelings and sensations and perceptions that keeps coming uninterrupted. And if we slow the mind down a bit, we can begin to get behind that, to see some gaps in the thoughts and feelings. And with practice, we can extend these gaps, and the waterfall becomes more like a river, and eventually, with even more practice, the river becomes like a lake and a few gentle streams of activity, contemplation, analogies. The first analogy being the waterfall and the lake. Mind's nature is like the lake, and mind's activity is like the waterfall. And another analogy is mind's nature is like clear blue sky, and mind's activities are like the clouds that come and go. Some clouds, like wispy summer clouds, very pleasant, agreeable, come and go quickly. Other clouds, like dark, threatening, frightening thunderclouds that can cause us huge problems. But they all eventually go. Another analogy with muddy water. If muddy water is not stirred, it becomes clear. Mind finds its own nature. But there's a difference there in that muddy water, the mud doesn't dissolve back into the water, it goes to the bottom. And unlike the clouds in the sky, the mud can come back another day to give us problems. An excellent analogy in today's internet age seems to me to be that mind's nature is like space and mind's activity is like holograms which appear in space, coming and going. An analogy that helped me enormously when I first started was with the bulb in an old-fashioned cine projector. The bulb is pure light, and the pure light, when it's projected through a film onto a screen, can give rise to all sorts of images that describe life from birth to old age and death. And another comparison is with dreaming. I can dream that I'm on Everest, I can dream of Everest, but Everest is not in my brain. I know perfectly well when I waken up it was a dream, a small dream in the big dream of life. And the I that I am, and the I that knows that I am when I waken and go to sleep, that I is the experiencer. That I doesn't change. That I is the subject. And that I, with more and more practice in meditation, begins to experience spaciousness within the mind and within mind's nature, being in the here, being in the now. And it's, to me, I think it's like the experience that some great sports people and great artists have. For example, great golfers sometimes seem to know that their ball is going into the hole. And great musicians know that their instrument is going to sound absolutely perfect. Being in the space, being in contact with one's self, one's true self, one's nature, being in the here and being in the now. Consciousness, what truly is. Consciousness doesn't divide, it doesn't depend on other things, and it doesn't change. All other things are constantly changing. Consciousness is, and I am the subject, the experiencer. I can't describe what I am objectively. I can experience it, as it puts it in the Buddhist Heart Sutra, beyond words, beyond thoughts, beyond description. We are, I am, you are consciousness. And I'd like to end with some quotations which have helped me enormously, from books that have helped me enormously. To begin with, Andy Carr's great book, Contemplating Reality. Wonderful quotation on page 85. The only way that we know that things exist is that they appear to mind. And Rupert Spira's great book, The Nature of Consciousness. Inside the cover, a wonderful quotation: consciousness is the fundamental underlying reality of the apparent duality of mind and matter. And another great quote from the great Advaita master Ramana Maharshi: let come what comes, let go what goes, see what remains. When I do that, what remains is consciousness, what we are. And what's pleased me more than anything is, as having studied science in my youth, is to see that great scientists who've investigated the material world have come to the same conclusion. Max Planck, founder of quantum physics, winner of the Nobel Prize for Physics, wonderful quotation from 1931, matter is derivative from consciousness. You can't get much more succinct than that. Matter, derivative from consciousness. Know yourself as consciousness. What I am, what you are, what we are. And as I've said before, my aim with these videos is to check my understanding, to check that I see it and can explain it, hopefully, in a way that may make sense to one or two other people, and that we may be able to get into some kind of discussion. I hope you'll make comments and get in touch so we can get into a discussion and know ourselves better. Don't forget the book on sussing life. Hope to see you soon for the final video on non-duality, and thanks for listening.